Hello, Mixtresses and Mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching Mixtress video. So I just had this idea in my head that I would go to a cemetery. I am in one of my very favorite cemeteries right now. Actually is my favorite cemetery. And I just thought I would talk about, I'm kind of doing a VR to Lou Valcourt, the Rocker Witch, because she had a video yesterday, came out talking about why she is called the Rocker Witch. So even though I've explained this before, I do like how she kind of went through her sort of musical life, her history with music. So I thought I would do that today, wearing my favorite vintage Cure t-shirt. So here we are. Let's see, let me get a drink. So I was fortunate in that I grew up with music, with what I consider to be good music. And of course that's extremely subjective, right? But my mom and dad, one of their best collaborations in this life, other than me, of course, was they made a mixtape for me whenever I was very, very, very little. Like, I would have been like maybe 2, younger. And this particular mixtape, iconic mixtape in my history, I wish I still had it, but of course, tornado took it away. It had Kate Bush, Talking Heads, Men at Work. It might have had my favorite song on it at the time, which was Let's Get Physical. That's my first favorite song, Let's Get Physical, by Olivia Newton-John, I think. And then my other first favorite song, which I affectionately call Baby's first feminist anthem, was Strut by Sheena Easton. So I grew up with, it was just sort of a Roxy music, Talking Heads, Kate Bush, Ofra Haza, who's a Jewish Israeli singer, Bel Canto, I believe they might be Norwegian or Swedish. I don't know. I'm bad with that shit. I don't know where people are from. I don't know where countries are. I have no knowledge of geography for the most part. Anyway, so I grew up with a lot of like post-punk, glam rock, art rock, I guess, like Laurie Anderson, Peter Gabriel, Kate Bush, again, might be kind of considered art rock. People that were doing their own thing. I grew up with weird. Weird was the thing. And so that's the music that was in my house growing up. And then I got into goth. I discovered The Cure in high school. And you know, the other types of things that you might expect from a goth teenager in the late 90s, like Marilyn Manson and Garbage. Garbage was big for me, especially the self-titled album. I still kind of only love the self-titled album, but and then there's Fiona Apple. And so music has always been, and the reason that I call myself the Mixtress, it's a few different things. I mean, it's basically the word is a combination of sorceress and mixtape. That's like the easiest way to explain it, right? But it came about, there was a time that I did mescaline and made a pact with the universe. I won't share here. I might have even shared it on my channel before, because I used to get a lot more personal than I do now, and all that shit's still there. So I'm being secretive about it at this moment, but it's possible that it's already out there anyway. I made a pact with the universe on a night that also my boyfriend at the time had said to me, "You're like a sorceress." And that was the same night that I was having this pact with the universe that was very significant. It was an important moment for me. And so that event happened, and then like a few years later, I made a mix for someone. And this has always been the thing with me. Like, it's difficult for me to process emotions, as I'm sure you guys have noticed. Sometimes I process them badly, as you know, according to a lot of you. But the way that I used to pretty consistently deal with my emotions and process my emotions was always through making a mix about it. You know, like, not only just like the typical, you know, you make a mixtape for someone, you have a crush on them or whatever. I would make mixes when I was trying to sort out any big events in my life, any emotional situations in my life, any tower moments. Like, I have a mix for everything. I have an autobiography mix that, of course, is evolving and changing all the time, with all of the most important songs that tell my life story. All of this can be found on my Spotify if you're interested. I think most of it. I probably need to go through and make sure, because you know how Spotify sometimes, like, certain versions of songs become unavailable or whatever, and you have to kind of fix it every once in a while. I also have a lot of my mixes on my YouTube playlists as well, so you can, anyway, if you're interested in any of my mixes, like, I make mixes, and it's why so I'm kind of getting off track as far as my my music life, but like, okay, so I grew up with all this great music, right? Because both of my parents were super into music. And then I was like a radio head. I listened to radio all the time. I always listened to the top 40, and I was really into, like, in the early 90s, I was really into like R&B. Like, my first music obsession was Michael Jackson, and then it went to Janet Jackson, much healthier choice, truly. And like, I was really into like everything, really, at first. And it wasn't like there's a little moth in front of me right now. I wish you guys could see it. I was really into anything and everything, and in middle school, I joined band. I played alto sax for 3 years. When we got to marching band, because like marching band for my school was 8th grade, I was not coordinated enough to move and play the saxophone at the same time. So marching band didn't work out for me. So I was really only in band with 6th and 7th grade, when we got to sit still and play. I was never that good at it. I didn't practice very much. And I don't really remember anything about playing the saxophone. Like, I remember how to hold it and how to make a note, but other than that, I got nothing. But I loved being in band. Like, that was my first experience of like kind of fitting in with a group of people, a group of weirdos. I've always been on the outskirts of even the weirdos, but band was a good time for me. It really was. And then I discovered like goth music in high school, like I said, and made a lot of mixes. I had sort of a phase in the early 2000s. That was just a bad time for culture in general, in my opinion. Like, a lot of the music that I was into, like circa 2002 to 2009, is just, it should stay in the past. But yeah, I've always just sort of sorted through my life by making mixes. And another thing that I guess I should mention, I tried to be a DJ for a minute. I got like a little bit of equipment. Like, I didn't spend too much money, but I got like a little mixer that I could hook up to my Mac, and I did a few shows, I think like 4 in total, and it just wasn't for me, because the type of music that I play it doesn't really work for my small town environment. Doesn't really work. And I didn't, it's just too extroverted for me. Like, performing is too extroverted for me. However, I love singing karaoke. I love dancing, I love karaoke, I love anything that has to do with music, and dancing is my original stimming behavior too. Like, as an autistic person, like, since the very beginning, I've always danced. Like, I would even just like fake being sick from school so I could stay home and dance all day, you know? And I've never been coordinated enough to like be a part of like a dance team or a dance class. I tried dance class once, and it was a jazz dance class, and everyone else in the class had like been in it since they were like really young, and I was like, I don't know, middle school age maybe, and I was very uncoordinated, and like I could never do choreography or anything like that because I do not have the coordination for that. But I love belly dancing, I love just dancing in general. So anything that has to do with music is the lifeblood for me. And it always has been since the very beginning. So I did the DJ thing for a minute, then I started my own radio show in 2014, which is still going every Friday night. Information below if you're interested. It's just a live, you have to tune into it at the time that it's on, kind of radio show, and I play whatever I want, and it's a great ritual for me to do every week. It is the ritual that I do every single week, you know, and I have been for 9 years now. In July 4th will be 9 years that I've had that radio show. So music is very important to me, and that's why I call myself Mixtress Ray. It is my original love. And when times in my life when I'm not listening to music all the time are the saddest times of my life. Like, I need music in my daily life. And this is something that, okay, so I'm sort of going to transition into just kind of babbling. So if you were here just for the like why I call myself Mixtress portion of the video, you can tune out now. But yeah, I just kind of want to talk about sort of what's been going on with me. I have been pulling back from YouTube a little bit. Because to be honest, now, please understand, I use dramatic language. Do not take this literally, but I'm feeling unsafe in YouTube land lately. I just, you know, when I started, I have a podcast, I have my radio show, I have this YouTube channel. All of these things started because I wanted to just express myself. I wanted to express my experience of my life. And it really started off being very uncensored because no one was really listening, right? And I've talked about this shit before. I'm always repeating myself because I'm always, you know, sorting through the same shit over and over and over again. That's what I'm doing. I have to keep sorting through it until I finally get past it, right? But so it started off being like very, very open, very honest, very uncensored. And as I've gotten more eyes on me, it's become more complicated. And especially since the video that, for whatever reason, broke TarotTube for a minute, or at least it felt like it from my point of view, which obviously, like, I'm biased because, you know, it was people reacting to me that I was mostly seeing at that time. It just made me feel like I was not welcome in the tarot YouTube space. And that's hard. That's hard for me to wrap my head around. I don't really know what to do with that. Because I've been here. Like I went back and watched, and I shared it on my community tab yesterday, my very first tarot YouTube video. Like I had made one other video in the past, like an ASMR video that had the Thoth deck in it. But my first like tarot related video was featuring Marigold Tarot, which is amazing because it's still one of my top 3 decks. But anyway, like going back and watching that was 4.5 years ago that I posted that video. It was February 2019. And so almost 4.5 years ago. And it's just interesting to see, like back then when no one was listening to me, I was just being myself. And now I'm second guessing everything that comes out of my mouth. I'm feeling so nervous, so anxious, so 9 of Wands in this space because I seem to elicit reactions from people that I can't anticipate. So I'm trying, like my brain is trying to anticipate how people might react to what I'm saying. And it's like, there's been a lot of like me questioning myself, like, am I really an asshole like people think I am? Like, or do I just suck at communicating? Or do I just need to ignore all of that because the people that get me are gonna get me? And that's never been a lot of people anyway. The people that get me in my life has never been that many. There's never been that many. And like, why am I feeling so self-conscious about it now? Probably just because of the sheer numbers of people that are paying attention to me at this point. And people seem to have this idea. I'm experiencing some paranoia. Like, let's be honest. I'm experiencing some paranoia. So I don't know how much of like what I'm experiencing right now is paranoia or is actually real. I don't know. You know, in Hunger Games, when Peeta had to ask real or not real, like that's where I'm at right now. Like I'm feeling like other people are perceiving me as, I don't know, like having an agenda, real or not real. Having vendettas against other people, real or not real. Like, are people really perceiving me that way? Because I got no agenda. I'm just talking about my life. And I know I sometimes sound like I'm like telling other people what to do, but it's just my delivery. It's not really what I'm trying to do. And I do perceive that there is a lot of classism in this space. And it's in the shadow. Like, nobody thinks they're being classist. And a lot of it's internalized as well. It's not just like the haves and have-nots. It's also the internalized classism. It's the internalized income inequality that because you know, in our society we are brought up to think that poor people are lazy, that they deserve what they get. We're taught to think that way. So we're going to internalize that even if we are of the lower class. We're going to internalize it a lot of the time, and I'm seeing that a lot. I'm seeing just a lot of, I don't know, just the way that people seem to be reacting to me is, I don't know how to say anything anymore. I don't know how to say anything anymore. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means I'm not going to be, I mean, I've kind of flirted with the idea of just becoming a pick-a-pile channel. Just do my readings for people that I love to do, and maybe it'll help some people. And just have my Patreon where, like, if I do want to say more personal shit, I can say it there, because it's not as many people reacting to me. And that may be what I do. I don't know. Because I don't like this feeling of second guessing absolutely everything I say because it might be misinterpreted. it's not good for me, because I do like to communicate. I do like to put myself out there, and I don't much care, like, I don't know, I don't put much stock in the shit that I've said like a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Like, that shit's in the past. I don't remember it anymore. Like, I really don't hold on to very many things in my brain. I really don't. And so it's challenging for me when you guys remember shit that I said a month ago, a year ago, whatever. So sometimes I have to, I've lately been thinking, like, does that mean that my channel should self-destruct? You know, like, should I have a video out there for a month? For one menstrual cycle and then take it down? I don't know. Like, instinctively, I've always thought that the evolution of a person is part of the process, you know? So, like, having that shit still out there doesn't really bother me most of the time, because I think to myself, like, if it were me, if I were experiencing my channel as a person outside of myself, I would recognize that a person evolves and changes, and what they're saying now is true for them now. But it doesn't seem like everybody accepts that, you know? I leave videos up that I find embarrassing. I leave videos up that I completely disagree with now, because me as a viewer, if I am watching someone's video and I'm thinking, wow, they're saying some weird shit that's really contradicting stuff that I've seen them say recently. When was this video posted? Oh, 3 years ago? Okay, well, they've changed. But other people get really attached to the things that you say. And this is a strange concept for me. And it kind of ties into putting people on a pedestal, or parasocial relationships, or fame. It kind of ties into that. It's like, anything that I say is not like some profound shit. I don't got profound shit. There's none of that. I just have thoughts that fly through my head, and I try to express them to you guys as I'm having them, because I'm intensely, like, philosophical, existential. I really like to tear apart everything that I'm thinking and feeling and get to the bottom of it. I like to overturn every single rock, and the process of doing that is uncomfortable. The process of doing that is, you know, it's shadow work, essentially. It's uncomfortable. It's not cute, but I do see it as sort of my role in this space. Not to, you know, be confrontational necessarily, but to put myself out there wherever I am. And if you're uncomfortable watching that process, you don't have to. As I've said before, shadow work is optional. It is. And if you're not ready for it, you don't need to be ready for it. Like, I'm here to confront those things for you. I'm here to confront those things for myself. And if that reflects in you and you wish to look into it, great. But if you don't have to. And I don't know how to move past this video that I made 2 menstrual cycles ago. For me. I don't know how to move past it, because people are taking like one isolated thing that I said in that video and making that what the video was about when it wasn't. And I can't control that. If I were recording those same sets of ideas now, I would say them differently. But I would say them differently partly because I put that shit out there, and then I had to deal with how people reacted to it, and then I had to deal with my own emotions and how I sorted through that. So it was an invaluable learning experience for me. And it also really showed me who could, it showed me where people had empathy and where they did not. And that was a very eye-opening, Lou Valcourt, if you are still watching, or if you ever were, you did a reading for me around my birthday last year, and I went back and listened to it yesterday, and you had predicted this situation, actually. You probably don't remember, because I'm sure you do a lot of readings for people, but you predicted this situation. So, incredible, incredible. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about music and then babble about sort of why I haven't been here. And why I haven't been here is I'm feeling a lot of anxiety about being here. And I don't know where that puts me. I'm in the process. I'm always in the process. Anytime you see me, I am in a process of sorting something out, because I'm ever changing, ever evolving, just like we all are, right? And I do want to actually say real things that I'm going through. I'm not really into surface level shit. I never have been, you know. I don't like that part of socializing with people that's just kind of bullshitting, like, how are you, how's the weather, you know, what's your job. I'm not really into that. I'm into talking about, like, what's your emotional experience? How do you view the world? How do you see the world? Like, what are your philosophies? I've really gotten sidetracked in the last 4.5 years. I've really gotten into a space of buying things and talking about things that I've bought. And that's just not really interesting to me overall. That's not my vibe, and it's not something I can sustain, even if it was my vibe. I can't. Whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna shut the fuck up now because I have to pee. Okay, bye!